I receive a lot of comments and messages asking me if I will pray for people. And of course, there is a time where praying for people is very beneficial, and especially when you are in the spirit, where you are very much absent from the ego, the person, the separate mental identity, and you have that freedom in the nowness, that freedom in the oneness of the ever-present awareness of creation, and away from the idea that you are a separate person that's lost inside there and you lose that connectivity. That's where you are in spirit, and in that sense, that energy can help people to remove energy that doesn't belong to them, to remove entities, to provide comfort and healing as well. And so there is a time, but often when people are asking me to pray for them, I see that the reality is that they are coming from a space of separation. And so this is not healthy. And what I mean by that is, when you ask someone, please pray for me, and you do it in the sense, it's as if God is now separate from you, and therefore you need to somehow bang on the door a little louder to get God's attention. This is how a lot of the requests come through. And I had one recently from a lady, I forget your name, I do apologise, and you had lost your job because you'd refused to take the vaccine, and you have 2 sons with autism. And so you were asking clearly from a state of struggle, and there was an element of, I sensed, suffering there, for people to pray for you. And I think in this instance, I want to say the reason we can't solve our problems with prayer like that is because the problems are amplified by the separation that we are approaching it from. When we pray like that, as if God is separate and we need other people to bang on the door to get God's attention, that sense of separation creates a major problem. And the problem amplifies the problem you originally had. So when you have a problem in life, if you approach it incorrectly, you will feel this. You don't need me to tell you. As when you feel love, you feel expansion in your being. It's the feeling of love is this expansion, this freedom. When you have a problem, it's as if it crushes you and compounds you into a ball. And the tighter that ball gets, the more disabled we are at being able to not only have the answers to our prayers arise within our being, but also we are disabled in our functionality as a human being to use our brain, etc., to solve problems. And so what I mean by that is, when the brain is empty and free of mind, it has great capacity and intelligence to solve problems. When the brain is frozen because the problem has compounded the idea that we are a separate self from this ever-present spirit of awareness and oneness that permeates all of creation, then the brain is disabled, because that separate person then, instead of focusing its energy on solving the problems, now has to use its energy to deal with the expression of struggle that the person is having, the emotions and so on and so forth. And so at the middle of our problem, we have to put God. And how do you do that? Is you have to take the person away. The person, when it goes into the middle of your problem, will make you feel like a compounded ball. And that's how you know that you've made an error in how you're approaching it. And that will then start the expression of struggle and panic and anxiety. And of course, all of these things are not born from faith. Now, we all struggle, we all suffer, don't get me wrong, everybody can walk into that. But the reality is that God is not separate from you. And the answers to your prayers to solve your problems will only arise when your body is free and relaxed in the presence of God, knowing that God is there with you in that problem. When you realize that separation into this person that has a problem has separated you not only from God's presence, but from the functionality of your body, then you realize separation is the problem. Separation is an illusion, and that illusion is created by the mind when it formulates the image of a self inside of it. That is the fall of man. The fall of man is separating from the consciousness of oneness that is God and the awareness permeating all things, and separating into a separate constructed person inside the mind. When we separate into a separate constructed person inside the mind, it lacks wisdom and intelligence and strength. It often lacks courage. It lacks everything, because all of these things are truly born from God's presence. And so we must separate from this image, this illusion of the separate self. And when we do that, we separate from the layer of struggle that it must create. It has a problem, it can't solve the problem, and so it starts struggling. And now it has more problems. It doesn't just need to find a job or deal with this. Now it has to navigate its own emotions and struggles and anxieties. Now all of that layer of struggles, emotions and anxieties can be put aside. And we can do that by taking our time to re-engage the interconnectivity of what we are with all, to stop acting as a separate person, to stop feeling like I am alone here dealing with this problem. And to do that, the only option I have ever known is to separate mind from self, because the mind is the one now that is trying to solve the problem, unable to, and so is formulating struggle in your life. So now the issue of needing to find a job, for example, becomes massively amplified by the anxiety of the separate person and the illusion of the separate person panicking as it doesn't know how to. The answer to our prayers will come from the alignment back in with that presence. The arising of solutions to problems come from aligning to the oneness of that Spirit of God that permeates the nowness of all reality. And you can separate this. You can just become the loving witness of the present moment. Just do it. I am the loving witness. I am the loving witness. Lovingly witness your room. Lovingly witness your body. Lovingly witness your thoughts. I am the loving witness. Keep this mantra, keep saying it. I am the loving witness. And eventually in time, as you feel the contraction leave and you start to expand, as you reconnect with the oneness as the loving witness of this glorious creation around us that we are part of, we as a person feel separate, but we as a man or a woman, we were birthed from the soils of creation just like these trees were around me. The soils of earth birthed human beings. We were there. We were connected to them, born from the same place. Reconnecting to the man and woman side of us beyond the person. As the loving witness, I am the loving witness. When we do that, eventually you can become the loving witness of your problem. And when you become the loving witness of your problem, there is no anxiety there. There is no panic there. And in that state of freedom and that space where you connect with God, with that persistent awareness that permeates all of the nowness around you, that awareness which is looking through your eyes before your mind grabbed it and formed a person, that awareness that connects you back to Mother, Father, Creator, back into Spirit, back into the Holy Spirit, where you fall away from the person and you are fully surrendered to God here and now. There you will find the arising of comfort, of faith, of answers to your prayers, and eventually you will be the loving witness of your problem. And if the answer does not arise almost supernaturally within you, then at least you know that your brain is now free of the contracted, compounded ball of a person in struggle and is connected to the all and the oneness and the vastness. And there it has its capacity as well to intelligently solve things with calm and with resolution and with hope and faith and with love. And so we must climb beyond the person having a problem. And to do that, I think if you've got children, it's easy to climb over because your children are there. You have something more important than the person and its emotions. You have your children. But ultimately, if we really want to climb beyond the person, there are many techniques, of course, to separate ourselves from our mind, but I am the loving witness. And it becomes a great joy. I have many problems in my life as a human being, but when I become the loving witness of those problems, then the solutions arise with such ease. They arise and arrive with me with such ease. Because when we are praying like that, God, please help, in that state of compounded tension and that state of separation, most likely Spirit is there, the awareness, God consciousness, the ever-presence of God in consciousness, I want to say, is waiting to speak to you, and you can't hear and it can't be heard because of the tension and the compounded ball. So become the I am the loving witness. Try that. Open up. And there God can be heard. And their answers will rise through you. Maybe not a voice or a letter or something, but through your energy, through the comfort of your energy, through the comfort of your intuition, through the comfort of your heart. And this will help the others around you to feel comfort, because they'll feel you are in control here. I trust that this is okay. But when we ask others, please bang on God's door, He's not answering me, she's not answering me, this is coming from a place of separation. And that separation is caused by placing the illusion of the person in the middle of the problem instead of God. As it says in Christianity, lay your problems at the feet of God. To do that, you must reconnect with God in the nowness of the awareness of all that is and that allowed for consciousness and creation to be. And that same awareness that is looking through your eyes. And there, when we have been born again, when we have let go of the person, where we have let go of the fall, and we've returned to Eden consciousness, you can say, that ever-present awareness, you can become the I am, the loving witness. And from there, in that freedom of union with all, answers arise to our prayers, and manifestation arises within there also. I hope you are well. To all who are struggling and suffering, I wish you nothing but love, but I believe deeply that behind your mind and the struggle, if you can become the loving witness of all of that, then you will find the peace and comfort that you need, and you won't need anyone to pray for you, because God's waiting there, just behind that tension, and that's why you can't hear. God bless, guys. Take care.